If Julia was around today, how do you think she would be responding to what's happening now?
She'd be kind of this calming force, right?
Mm,
Like
yeah.
she'd sort of not like keep calm and carry on, but just sort of, you can get through this because she went through so much. I mean, she lived at a time when women were not well respected. She had to fight, battles against sexism in this
Hmm.
country and
Mm,
misogyny.
hmm.
She was doing her public service work for the government, and I'm sure she faced lots
Hmm.
of challenges. So I think she would probably say, this is just one more challenge that we all are going to face, but we will get through it. The Julia Child Foundation has really allowed my co-founder Bernard Pollock and I to have a bigger voice. We're a very small nonprofit, and they've literally changed our lives by honoring us with this award.
What does it feel like to get that honor and being associated with someone in the culinary world that's such a, towering figure?
I'm still in shock, and we've known now for several months, and
Yeah.
it's still a shock to me that someone so iconic, my name's even associated with hers, because she is such sort of not only an American icon, but somebody who really showed how women could really rise up in the food system and make a name for themselves without having to really follow um, the same path as men in the food system. And she's really just someone to look up to and to admire.
How do you feel like she paved the way for you as a woman in the food industry?
I mean, I think as somebody who had so many different careers before she became a chef, and so I think she came at it with sort of this view that I and Food Tank do, that we have to think holistically about our food and agriculture systems, and we have to look, not just domestically for solutions, but all over the world. When Food Tank talks about our food system being broken, we're sort of looking at the paradoxes. On the one hand, you have roughly 820 million people who are hungry. That number is going up, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, and that's worldwide. On the other side of that, you have over 2 billion people who are overweight or obese. And for us,
Hmm.
that really just signifies a food system that's not working for everybody. It's a food system that focuses on filling people up rather than nourishing them, and a real lack of equality in the food system. And what we've seen over the last several months, I think, has really amplified that we need more racial and social justice in all parts of our society. But I think in the food system, especially, where people need more access and able, or who, folks who are able to afford healthy food. And that's been a real problem in so many parts of the US, not just underserved urban areas, but rural areas like the one I grew up in, where people don't have
Hmm.
access to healthy food.
Are there any other issues in the food world that you feel like we don't talk about enough?
One is the role of women. And,
Mm.
and around the world, 43% of the agricultural labor force is made up of women. They are
Mm.
producing most of the world's food, and they are often overlooked when it comes to resources like land. They lack access to banking and financial services. There's a lot of things that we could do to make sure that women are honored for their role, not just as cooks and nutritional gatekeepers, but
Mm.
as food producers. And according to the United Nations, if women had the same access to resources as their male counterparts, male farmers, they could lift as many as 150 million people out of hunger. And then another issue that I think has not gained, a lot of attention until this year, and because of the terrible murders of folks like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, is the racial injustice that takes place in the food system and the social injustice. And these are issues that we really need to solve. And part of why part of why Food Tank is so honored to receive the Julia Child Award is that with that funding, we can hire a food justice fellow who can focus on this issue in a more concerted way.
So I know you got your master's at Tufts.
I went to Tufts right out of Peace Corps. In addition to having internships and being a part-time nanny, I also worked at a restaurant that is sadly now out of business, not because of the pandemic. It went out of business a few years ago, called Emma's Pizza. And it was
Mm.
located in Cambridge. When I interviewed to work there, I was basically answering the phones and doing prep work. When I interviewed to work there, they told me that Julia Child would call in and get pizzas from there occasionally. So every weekend when I worked, because I worked on the weekends, I was just hoping one day that I'd hear her really iconic voice. It never happened, but it still made me like excited to go to work.